Most corrupt president in history.
This is the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. He and his wife created a fake organization so that they could siphon money from a fundraising concert. $100 million? None of the people got it. None of the victims of the Palisade fires got it. So it's just funny to me watching him talk about corruption.
Because the mayor's incompetent and Gavin Newscum is incompetent. Got a good line of bullshit, but that's about it. He's incompetent.
Going on between Gavin Newsom and President Trump. Gavin Newsom, after President Trump said in the noon hour in the Oval Office that he called him yesterday or the other day, Gavin Newsom tweeted the following. He said, quote, "There was no call, not even a voicemail. Americans should be alarmed that a president deploying Marines on our streets doesn't even know who he's talking to." Well, President Trump contacted me from Air Force One on his way to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where he'll be in just a little while. He said the first call to Gavin Newsom was not picked up. The second call Gavin picked up. We spoke for 16 minutes. I told him to essentially, quote, and this is quoting the president, "get his ass in gear and stop the riots, which were out of control more than anything else. This shows what a liar he is." Said I never called. So here is the evidence. And here is the call log that the president sent me from his phone. This was June the 7th. Now, granted, this was on Saturday. But look, there's 1:22 o'clock in the morning. Which would have been 10 o'clock at night, 10:22 at night, California time. There was an outgoing call for 4 seconds. And then there was an outgoing call for 16 minutes. So that from the president, which says is proof that he spoke to Gavin Newsom early in the morning, our time, late at night, Friday night, would have been June 6th, I guess, in Los Angeles.
You lying sack of shit. Gavin decided to take it upon himself to tell the public Donald Trump is lying. He never reached out to me. He never called me. Donald motherfucking Trump slapped that goddamn receipt on the table and said, who's lying? I tell you, man, Democrats lie about the dumbest shit. Oh, he never called me. Sir, you know call log exists? What are you talking about? You know what, people? I'm at a fucking point. Do y'all remember that movie Underworld where Selena had to go wake Victor up because Victor was in fucking hibernation for centuries and he woke up to a world that he does not compute with? That's how I feel like the Democrats are. I feel like somebody woke these motherfuckers up over the last 20 years after sleeping in hibernation and they woke up to some shit that they're not familiar with. I'm saying because they lie and say the dumbest shit that you would think will work 300 years ago, but it don't work right now. You don't believe me? Look at Gavin Newsom hair. Look at that shit. Look how much fucking gel he put in his hair. Motherfucker, that hairstyle's from 1987. When the last time y'all seen a motherfucker slick his hair back with a shitload of gel? Come on, man. These people's are vampires.
He's a failed president. Who else sends ICE same time having a conversation like this?
So let me get this straight. We now have ICE agents literally being attacked, federal buildings being destroyed, and the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, wants to claim LA's a city of immigrants.
We are going to fight for all Angelenos, regardless of when they got here, whether they have papers or not. We are a city of immigrants.
No, LA is a city of criminals, and if you came here illegally, you happen to be a criminal. So let's clean up the streets for the people of LA, and let's protect our ICE agents. President Trump sending 2,000 National Guardsmen to LA to do just that. God bless President Trump and his strength. And to think, leaders in Los Angeles have the audacity to blame federal agents while their city is literally being destroyed by radical lunatics. LA, wake up to what's happening. The left, the Democrats, they're ruining your city, and they're doing it on purpose.
Someone who's weak. Someone who's broken. Someone whose weakness is masquerading as strength.
Coming here in short notice. I want to make it clear that everything you've heard and read is true. And I am deeply sorry about that. I've hurt someone I care deeply about, Alex Turk, his friends and family, and that is something that I have to live with and something that I am deeply sorry for. I am also sorry that I've let the people of San Francisco down. They expect a lot of their mayor, and my personal lapse of judgment aside, I am committed to restoring their trust and confidence, and will work very hard in the upcoming months to make sure that the business of running the city is framed appropriately. I also want to extend a personal apology to everyone in our administration, to my staff that I just met with, to my friends and my family members. I am deeply sorry.
The most unpopular president in modern history.
Flashback.
I think sometimes it's important to do a little bit of reality check and take a little different spin at the numbers. I'm going to do that right here because all we talk about is how unpopular Donald Trump is. But in reality, he's basically more popular than he was at any point in term number one, and more popular than he was when he won election back in November of 2024. What are we talking about? His net favorable rating right now comes in at -4 points. Compare that to where he was when he won in November of 2024, when he was at -7 points, or March of 2017 when he was at -10 points. So when you compare Trump against himself, he's actually closer to the apex than he is to the bottom of the trough. And of course, that's so important because Donald Trump, historically speaking, has had his numbers underestimated. So I think it's very important to compare him to himself to understand he's actually more popular now than he was when he won, or certainly where he was at this point back in his first term. The bottom line is Trump is more towards the ceiling than he is towards the floor.
So when you do that, it makes my knees hurt. So when you look at this compared to sort of historically, what does it tell you about the percentage of folks that think the country itself, with him at the helm, is on the right track?
This, I think, is rather important because, again, if the polls have historically underestimated Donald Trump, what is a metric that might get at understanding at how popular he may actually be? So let's take a look at the percentage of the country who say that we're on the right track. It's actually a very high percentage when you compare it to some historical numbers. What are we talking about? According to Marist, 45% say that we're on the right track. That's the second highest that Marist has measured since 2009. How about NBC News? 44%. That's the highest since 2004. Wow. The bottom line is the percentage of Americans who say we're on the right track is through the roof. And if you were to compare it to when presidents have historically been reelected, of course, Trump is not constitutionally eligible to run for re-election, but I think it sort of puts it in perspective. 42% of the country says the country is on the right track when the incumbent party is re-elected. And also keep in mind, back when Kamala Harris lost and the Democrats were turned out of power, only about 27 to 28% of the country said the country was on the right track. The bottom line is right now, a much higher percentage of the country says we're on the right track. And finally, Sarah Seidner, I want to put it all in the congressional generic ballot.
What about Congress?
What about Congress? Because those are the folks who are up in 2026. And take a look here. The Dems versus the Republicans on the generic congressional ballot. Back in November of 2020, when Democrats won, it was +5 Democrats. Tied in November of 2022, +1 in November of 2024 when Republicans maintain control. And then you look at March of 2025. This number looks a lot more like 2022 or 2024 when Republicans won control of Congress. The bottom line is, yes, Donald Trump's approval rating is lower than compared to a lot of his predecessors, but it's higher than compared to himself. A lot of folks say the country's on the right track, and the generic congressional ballot looks a heck of a lot more like when Republicans win than when Democrats win.
An economy that's collapsing all around them.
Countries and using the levers of trade and tariffs, even though
hundreds of billions of dollars of investment that will flow into the United States. That's Kellyanne. That's going to mean millions of jobs for Americans, for working. That's why they call him the working class president, because that's going to create jobs in factories and manufacturing and technology. So I'm very impressed with what's going on right now. I'm super bullish.
You saw the new wholesale prices going up almost a full percentage point today. Inflation is going up.
We've ended Biden's inflation nightmare and came in below expectations, and yet again this past month we set records. Gasoline prices are way down, and really dramatically, as everybody knows, and energy prices have been going down, other than in certain states where you have Democrat-run states where they put windmills all over the place. Anytime you see a windmill, you'll say, well, they have bad energy costs, and it's happening in New Jersey. I saw that there's a revolution going on in New Jersey. They closed up a nuclear power plant, and they're raising electricity rates by 21, 22, and 28%, something like that. And
why the gas prices are almost 50% higher in California compared to the rest of the nation. Yeah, I'll do my best. Today, the prices are 50.3% higher in California than they are across the nation. And so if you go back to the 70s, the price differential between California and the rest of the country was about 5 cents a gallon. It really wasn't that much. But in the 90s, around 97, 98, it began to creep even higher. In California, we have the California state excise tax. That's at 59.6 or 7 cents a gallon right now. It's going to go up to 62.1 on July 1st. Then we have the seasonal blends, which you have winter and summer, and because they're unique and they're regulatory required, they're going to add anywhere from 12 to 15 cents a gallon. Then you have the low carbon fuel standard, which is really unique to California. That's the gasoline that is only burned in California. It's made for California to satisfy California regulatory requirements. That adds another 15 to 18 cents a gallon. And now we have the new low carbon fuel standard number 2 coming in, which nobody can really predict, but the original prediction was 47 cents a gallon. And now you have cap and trade, and all the environmental programs collectively add about 50 cents to a gallon of gasoline. And then the final piece of legislation that's coming into play this year is the reserve requirement for gasoline. So in other words, what the legislature has enacted is a law requiring the refiners to maintain a reserve of finished fuel products, which means there's going to be a holding cost of inventory for that, and that's going to drive up the prices. In addition, we have local taxes. That's about 3.07% in addition to the cost. All in all, just this year alone, before July 1st, that's about $1.64 a gallon when you add it all up. When you add the federal excise tax, which is 18 cents, it gets you up there to $1.82. If the price of oil went to zero today across the nation, including for California, in other words, the price of crude oil, which is the main ingredient to make gasoline, was zero, was free, gave it to everybody. Every refinery in the country. California would still have the highest gasoline prices in the United States because of the regulatory cost.
Because the mayor's incompetent, and Gavin Newscum is incompetent. He's got a good line of bullshit, but that's about it. He's incompetent.
Governor, you got a second? Governor, I live here, Governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
This has got to be the most hypocritical thing I've seen all day.
I'm a taxpayer. I don't like to see my money wasted like this.
Bro spent $24 billion with a B dollars on his homeless population, and it went from 181,000 homeless people to 181,000 homeless people. Bro spent another $5 billion on water storage and then didn't have any water when his state started on fire. Bro spent another $14.4 billion on a high-speed railroad. Out of the 100 and some odd miles of railroad they plan to build, they've only prepped 22 miles so far. 0 miles of track laid. This is the same man that wasted 105,000 taxpayer dollars putting up billboards in red states to advertise California as the abortion sanctuary, and then allocated another $44 million to go to uninsured abortions. So after spending almost $50 billion, the homeless population grew, there still is no water, and there's no high-speed train. And in the meantime, all of that property they got burnt up because he didn't have any water, he's trying to buy it for pennies on the dollars to put in low-income housing.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
I'm sorry. There's literally, I've tried 5 times.
Fire aid. Yeah. This was, remember the concerts that they held down in Inglewood?
Yeah.
Multiple concerts. I mean, the lineup was incredible, and they had all kinds of performers coming in. And the goal was to raise money for individuals impacted by Palisade and by Eaton Fire. So you think, okay, this is great. You have these artists, I'm guessing, perform probably for free, right? Because it was charity and this was all about raising money. They ended up getting $100 million.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. And so I was watching, actually, Channel 11 locally, Marla Tejas had an interview on with Sue Pasco is her name. And she, I want to get this right, is the editor of Circling the News, which I had never heard about before. I'm going to be checking it out because she said that she got curious from someone who wrote to her and said that they had tried to get some money. They were a victim in Palisade, and that they were trying to get some money, I guess, from one of these organizations. And so when she couldn't get anything. So this woman, Sue Pasco, says, all right, well, let's call Fire Aid and see how they're doling out this money. Well, they give her kind of the runaround, send her to a PR person who says, oh, well, we're not giving it to individuals. We're giving it to nonprofits to then give to individuals. So you're giving $100 million of money people donated thinking it was going to go directly to the people who need it. I'm going to say, even as liberal as these artists are, they probably thought that the money they raised was going to go to individuals who needed help directly. Instead, $100 million was split up amongst a group of approved nonprofit organizations. And these organizations apparently are on this website for FireAid. And so this reporter, this editor, Sue Pasco, went through and started calling to see all of these organizations about what they were actually doing to help people. And the one that she referenced, I guess, was a nonprofit who helped mobile home parks. And so she thought, okay, in Palisades, there are 2 mobile home parks that were impacted by fire. So she called both of them, and they hadn't received $1 from these organizations. Once again, Steve, you have all the money sticking at the top and none of it trickling down. You have all of these groups who enrich themselves not only on government contracts, but now from charitable organizations. And
all those people that went,
I think this is a travesty.
I think it's a scandal, and I think we should
have
really
to blow it up.
blow it
right.
up. Exactly right. I think it's a really, really big deal. That's a lot of money. There was a lot of emotional investment in that. I remember those concerts. I couldn't go. I wanted to go. People from here in the Bay Area, I know, flew down for it. You know, they wanted to be part of it.
They were
amazing. It was a real moment. Everyone was so upset about the fires. Everyone wanted to do something. It was a big deal. And now it's the same old story with these non-profits. Like, that word has just been so tarnished by the way Democrats kind of outsource everything to, you know, of course we talk about it in connection with the homelessness and these homeless non-profits where the CEOs make millions of dollars and the homelessness problem gets worse. And here it is all over again.
Assemblyman, what are the questions you're asking about where this wildfire money went?
Well, I think this is actually pulling out a large-scale exposure of what's been going on here with the nonprofit industrial complex that's built into the Democratic Party and the leadership here in this state. Where's the money, and what is it actually doing for the people around? I think LA, and this is going to wake up a lot more people in that LA region that's really dominated by Democrat control, that their money is gone and it's not helping them. And so the questions that we are going to ask is, where's the money? And show us the receipts. If $100 million has been raised, there is something that needs to be done. And what we have seen in LA is there is nothing being done, and these people are just being left out to dry.
Because the mayor's incompetent, and Gavin Newscum is incompetent. He's got a good line of bullshit, but that's about it. He's incompetent.
I feel like the last couple of years you've like purposely picked this fight with the red states. I mean, but I don't want to live in the Civil War country.
I agree with that.
You know what? Well, but you seem like you purposely want to set up this dichotomy between, oh, this is a blue state and that's a red state, and I don't want to live in that country. I like Florida.
But when I look at Chicago and I look at LA, if we didn't go to LA 3 months ago, LA would be burning like the part that didn't burn. If he would have allowed the water to come down, which I told him about in my first term, I said, you're going to have problems, let it come down. We actually sent in our military to have the water come down into LA. They still didn't want it to come down after the fires. But that was it, we have it coming down. But hopefully LA's watching. That mayor also. The city's burning. They lost like 25,000 homes. I went there the day after the fire. You were there, and I saw people standing in front of a burned down home. Their homes were incinerated. They weren't like, even the steel was literally, it was all warped and literally disintegrated because of the winds and the flame and the whole thing, like a blowtorch. They were standing on this beautiful day, maybe a couple of days after. We gave it a little time because what they had suffered. Almost 25,000 homes. And you see what's happening now. They didn't give their permits. I went to a town hall meeting. I said, we're going to get you the federal permits, which are much harder. Almost immediately. Lee Zeldin is a star. He did an incredible job. They have all their federal permits. They don't have their city permits.
Flashback.
6 months is no good.
And the number one thing that we are going to do immediately, and you will see this happen, is to clear out the debris. And we're concerned right now over the weekend because of the potential rain, but we are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe, and we want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't cost a lot.
Yes, and they can.
You
and
should
they are
let them
able
do it, because by the time you hire contractors, it's going to be 2 years.
If a family...
The people are willing to get a dumpster and do it themselves and clean it out.
And they can.
There's not that much left. It's all incinerated.
That's right.
And, it's just going to take a long time if you do. You can do some of it, but a lot of these people, I know that guy right there that's talking. I know my people. You'll be on that thing tonight, throwing the stuff away, and your site it'll look perfect within 24 hours, and that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to wait around for 7 months till the city hires some demolition contract that's going to charge him $25,000 to do his lot. Yeah. I think you have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because I looked, you have a very powerful emergency power, and you can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can. Well, yes, but you know that you will be able to go back soon.
Mr. President.
We think within a week.
That's a long time, a week. I'll be honest. To me, everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work, and they're not allowed to do it.
And the most important thing is for people to be safe.
They're safe. They're safe. You know what? They're not safe. They're not safe now. They're going to be much safer. A week is actually a long time, the way I look at it. I watched hundreds of people standing in front of their lots, and they're not allowed to go in. It's all burned. It's gone. It's done. Nothing's going to happen to it. It's not going to burn anymore. There's nothing to burn. There's almost nothing to burn. And they want to go in. The people are all over the place. They're standing. And I say, why aren't you going in? We're trying to get a permit. And the permit's going to take them. Everybody said 18 months. You said 18 months. You said 18 months.
Last night.
And that was last night.
On that. Right.
Mr. President, we're going to be together next week. And
the mayor said to me, we think we can have them in 2 years. I was walking down the street, and I met with firemen and police. And I was saying hello to many people that were standing in front of their homes with yellow tape. You can't go in. You can't go onto the lot. And those people wanted to start rebuilding their homes then and there. And the mayor said, we should be able to get them the permits within 2 years. I said, that's a shame. 2 years? Are you kidding? I'm going to get them the federal permit like almost immediately. 2 years. And she roared back, well, maybe 1 year. The place was booing her out of the place. They don't have their permits to build their homes. And now they're talking about this is among the most beautiful areas in the country. Now they're talking about putting low-income housing there.
What's really disturbing is what they're planning to do with the Palisades afterwards. Existing legislation in California mandates that they build homeless housing in the Palisades, and it's hidden in a transportation bill. Why not just rebuild what we had here? You can see the vultures. They're circling to pick the carcass clean of the Palisades, because can you imagine how long developers have been lusting after this land? And all they needed was somebody to shake the Etch-a-Sketch. And now they have this foothold where they can come in and slam in high-density housing.
The developer just right here in the Alphabet Streets bought up all these lots and already applied to put duplexes on them. Already too many people here, and now we're going to have duplexes and high-rises.
I can't fathom anyone, except like maybe a California politician, who would look at that cluster F of an evacuation where you had everybody slammed in Palisades Drive, had to abandon their cars. Who would look at that and think, hey, you know what would make this better? 50,000 more people. What we should be doing is we should be banning more density in a fire zone.
Can you believe this? I love low-income housing. I made money with low-income housing. I built low-income housing. I know more about low-income housing and luxury housing. I know about everything real estate. They want to replace some of those homes with low-income housing. They haven't gotten their permits yet. We've gotten all the federal permits, which are much tougher to get, and it was done almost immediately through Lee Zeldin and Federal Environmental. And I watched the other day, those people are angry. And now, they had they love that area. They love the whole big area, different places, but they loved it. It was all luxury stuff and beautiful stuff, and some wasn't that luxury, but the level of love for that neighborhood, their neighborhoods, was incredible. And you know what? I watched people on television. They want to go. They want to leave. They've lost their spirit. They've lost their heart because the mayor's incompetent. And Gavin Newscum is incompetent. He's got a good line of bullshit, but that's about it. He's incompetent.
So Gavin Newsom and his wife actually created an organization just to steal some of the fire aid money. Like, how this man is still governor of California and not behind bars is fucking mind-blowing.
We need to stop the raids. This should not be happening in our city. It is not warranted.
Hey girl, bye. Hey girl, bye. I don't want to move to Florida. I'm sure it's lovely. I don't mind visiting there, but I love California. I have been throwing up West Side since I was in high school listening to Tupac. I love California. I'm not letting people that I pay their salaries with my tax dollars destroy, let my town burn down, then try to build their own version of my town in my town. Then they win, Wyatt. If I leave, they win. The people that literally burn me and my parents out of our houses, if I leave and go to Florida, they win. I am going to stay, even if I have to be in a tent on my dirt lot, making sure it's all the brush is cleared so I don't get another fine from fire department. So yes, Florida's awesome, Wyatt. I'm sure it's beautiful, but I love California. I've always loved California, and I love the Palisades even more than I loved California. So if I leave, then they win, and I can't let that happen.
Are you from the area of DC? Or are you a tourist?
Born and raised.
So you're born and raised in DC. Are you here are you working in the area or just tourist right now?
I work not far from here.
Where do you, if you don't have to tell me, but where do you work?
I work at a law firm
So you're an attorney?
No, but I assist.
Oh, cool. So what are your thoughts? Today we're talking about DC crime rates. Is it safe to live in DC? Do you agree with President Trump federalizing for 30 days to sort of stamp down on crime? What are your thoughts?
I agree with it. I was born and raised in the district, and I've never seen the things that I see today with children as young as 3 years old being shot. I mean, where does that happen? I think it's a bad idea to fear what this president is doing. I mean, he actually lives in the city now. I mean, come on. He would be foolish, I think, to ignore things like that. A child 3 years old being shot, or people being shot on the bus. I mean, that happened in upper Northwest Washington, D.C. So, I mean, yeah, I think I
agree. In upper Northwest and like the areas, because it's hard finding actual DC residents here in this area. It's mostly like bureaucrats and whatnot. It's not the real DC people. Yeah. Do they generally support this? Do they feel like they want crime to be under control, or are they against it?
I do. I believe that most people that live here, that work hard every day and have families, they want the crime rate to be brought under control. They want the situation of, like I said, children being shot, seniors being assaulted. They want that under control. Okay. And I believe that this is the best thing that has happened to this city in a very, very long time, for the president to take control and, of the police, of the crime. I think it's a great idea. I really, really do.
Question for me now. Where in DC, I'm new to DC and I actually live in Virginia on the borderline in Arlington. If I wanted to go talk to real DC people, not bureaucrats, not lobbyists, not people working in the area, like people that are actually born and raised here, where would I go to find them and actually ask questions like this?
I would say, kind of in the... probably just northwest and southeast, from like the higher rate of socioeconomic areas, and then maybe where people were struggling. Right. I think really actually where people are struggling.
If you could give me how about like a shopping area that I could look up, where I could go, there's people walking around that I could walk up to on the street, maybe like a city center area where there's like people just walking that I could talk to?
I'd say Pennsylvania Avenue, southeast.
What would the cross street be?
That would be It would be more like Potomac Avenue neighborhood, the Potomac Avenue neighborhood.
Let me put that just in case that, thank you for this information. Because I like.
Where? Sure.
Hold on. Potomac, what was it?
Potomac Avenue.
Avenue area. Right, because back when I was in New York and I was covering a lot of things, for me, it was very easy to find neighborhoods because I was from there. And I always like to talk to the real people. Like when you go into New York City, it's really hard. Everybody's coming and going, and they're more wealthy and they have different opinions. I used to go to the Bronx, to Harlem, and people's opinions are wildly different than you would expect.
Right.
So,
well, my view is that there are people that have actually moved out of the district, but also those people too have a great view. They have an understanding. Those that actually were born here, raised here, and then eventually became adults and moved into the suburbs, they understand that they want safety in the city as well. When we come down to work or to shop or to have dinner, we want to be able to feel comfortable. I mean, who wouldn't want safety? I think fear is a horrible thing. The Bible talks about fear, and the Bible tells us, to not fear, but to be confident in Christ. So I really think that it's a good idea to not fear and to allow at least 30 days to see how the city can change for.
But if you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.